Welcome to AI Verdict. Two of the biggest, baddest AI image generators on the planet dropped within days of each other. And you know what that means. It's time for a showdown. We're putting GPT Image 1.5 and Nano Banana Pro head to head. Let's see who comes out on top.
Look, the marketing hype is one thing, but how these tools actually perform in the real world, that's what really matters. So we're going to cut through all that noise and answer the one big question. Which of these brand new, powerful tools is the right one for you?
And to do that, we're not just kicking the tires. We are throwing both of them into the ring for an identical 5-round battle. We're testing everything: text rendering, how precise their edits are, creating complex scenes, straight-up speed, and maybe most important of all, how well they stick to the facts.
All right, round one, fidelity. This is all about the details. How well do they handle the tiny stuff? Can they get text right, and can they make an edit without completely wrecking the rest of the image? Let's find out.
Okay, first up, we gave them a real challenge: a thermal grocery receipt. This is a nightmare for AI, with all that tiny, dense text. GPT Image 1.5 did an amazing job. The output was super clean, and you could actually read the little footer text. Nano Banana Pro went a different route. It gave us a much higher res image, so it looks sharper when you zoomed in. Both did great, honestly, just with different priorities.
Next, we pushed them on language with a poster in English, Spanish, and Arabic. And you know what? Both of them absolutely nailed it. All the text, dates, locations, perfect. The only real difference was the vibe. GPT Image 1.5 gave us this dramatic, cinematic poster, while Nano Banana Pro had a cleaner, more illustrative style. We have to call this one a draw. It really just comes down to which look you prefer.
But what happens when you try to add it a person? We asked both to swap a sweater for a blazer, but, and this is key, keep the person exactly the same. GPT Image 1.5? Flawless. It kept the face, the body, the background, everything perfectly intact. Nano Banana Pro, well, it struggled a bit. It introduced some weird little distortions in the face and even zoomed the person out. Not ideal.
So the takeaway here is pretty clear. If you're editing photos of people, and you absolutely have to preserve their identity, no weird changes, no artifacts, GPT Image 1.5 is definitely the safer, more reliable choice. On to round two, creation. This is where we look at how these models build complex scenes completely from scratch. And, of course, how fast they can pull it off.
We asked for a professional team photo with 5 different people. GPT Image 1.5 did what we asked, but it had that, that classic AI look. The faces were all a little too similar, kind of like they were all cousins. Nano Banana Pro, on the other hand, knocked it out of the park. The photo just felt real. The faces were distinct, the lighting had depth, it was way more natural.
But what about raw speed? We timed them creating a living room scene, and wow, it was basically a photo finish. GPT Image 1.5 took 25 seconds, and Nano Banana Pro came in at 24. A 1-second difference is, nothing. So for a single image, it's pretty much a tie. But the real difference in speed comes down to workflow. See, GPT Image 1.5 can do what's called parallel generation. It's like having a bunch of artists working on different paintings all at once. Nano Banana Pro works sequentially. It has to finish one prompt before it can even start the next. That's a huge workflow difference, unless you're using an API, which can let both run at the same time.
And that brings us to our final and I think most important round, truth. This is where we see the single biggest thing that separates these two models, their connection to reality.
Nano Banana Pro has a secret weapon, and it's called search grounding. What does that mean? It means before it even starts drawing, it can actually use Google to research the topic. This is a game changer for creating things like diagrams, maps, or anything that needs to be factually correct.
To see it in action, we asked for an infographic on how to brew chai tea. GPT Image 1.5 just gave us a generic recipe based on what it already knew from its training data. But Nano Banana Pro, it actually went out, used its search feature to find specific sourced recipes, and came back with a guide that was way more detailed and accurate.
But this next test, this was the knockout punch. We asked for a map of the 5 largest cities in Japan. GPT Image 1.5 just failed. Completely. It gave us 6 cities and put them in the wrong places. Nano Banana Pro, with its search grounding, it was perfect. It gave us the correct 5 cities, put them in the exact right spots, and even labeled the major islands. This was a huge, decisive win. Okay, so after all those tests, after 5 rounds in the ring, what's the final verdict? Which one of these incredibly powerful models should you actually be using?
Let's just break it down nice and simple. You're going to want to choose GPT Image 1.5 when what you need most is control and fidelity. Think preserving a person's face during an edit, or getting text on a product label absolutely perfect. But you should go with Nano Banana Pro when you need that polished, professional look and factual accuracy. For complex, realistic scenes or for data-driven stuff like maps and infographics, it's the clear choice. You know, the best way to think about it is with a simple analogy. It's really like choosing between a master portrait painter and a world-class photojournalist.
The portrait painter, that's GPT Image 1.5, is all about capturing the perfect, tiny details of one subject with incredible control. The photojournalist, Nano Banana Pro, is better at capturing the raw, factual, energetic reality of the world around us.
They're both amazing tools for sure, but they are absolutely not the same. So now that you've seen what they can do, their strengths and their weaknesses, which one are you going to pick for your next project?